I also want to ask you one question because sometimes this stuff gets a little heavy. But I also read that you're used to being part of a car club. And are you still into cars? Like, what's your idea?
And it's funny, by the way, in my first election, they said I was a gang member. You know what I said to them? My mother would have whooped my, you know what, if I had been a gang member. I mean, my mother was not afraid to use, you know,
The belt.
the belt. And especially with me, no dad, home with domestic violence. I was wild. I got kicked out of school, as some of you know. I dropped out of school. I was heavily involved in that whole scene. At the end of the day, what I have come to realize that that in politics, people like misrepresenting who you are.
Yeah.
And in my case, they said I was a gang member, and actually it was a car club. It was called the Clique, Klique. We were a lot of us Catholic school kids, some of us public school kids. Yeah, we got in fights, but that's not mostly what we did. We played football, we played baseball, we played basketball. We, drove around in our cars. I had a Chevy Malibu Super Sport. Bought it, a yellow one, and then I painted it root beer brown, a 1965 Chevy Malibu Super Sport, root beer brown, and
Nice.
Oh, that's a nice car.
lowered with Kriegers all the way around, and it was is what we did. By the way, bought my car with all the money I saved since I was shining shoes at 5, 6, and 7 years old downtown on 7th and Broadway, my paper route. Later, the money I'd hustle going from all the stores on City Terrace, I'd knock on their doors and say, "Can I work for you?" And they said, "How old are you?" 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And so they say, "You don't have a work permit." I said, "No." I said, "I'll do it for free." So I'd cut up their boxes. I'd throw out the trash. The barbershops, there was like 3 barbershops on that street. I'd clean up the hair, on the floor. And they give me $1 or $2.
What was your treat? Like I remember when I was a little kid, you get a couple bucks, you go to the store. What was the thing that you would spend a couple pennies on or 5 cents on? Like, would you go to the store and get like a certain candy or a sweet?
You know what I did? I saved it. And then I'd ask my mother for some sweets. My mother would buy me the sweets. No, I saved it. I saved all my money. So I bought a car, at 16 years old. My mother helped me with the insurance. By the time I was 12, I was paying for my tuition.
Wow.
I was buying my uniforms. Wait, don't want to exaggerate. I was buying uniforms in high school, but by the time I was 12, at Sig's and Zalman's on Brooklyn Avenue, before it was Cesar Chavez, I had a layaway plan, and I bought my own clothes. I bought my own clothes there. I saved my own money, and I wouldn't spend it on anything. I'd ask my mother for the candy, and my favorite candy back then, and still is, M&M's.
Oh, wow.
Regular?
No, peanut. I love M&M peanuts.
Do you bite it and take the peanut out, or do you just put the whole thing?
I
in your
put the
mouth?
whole darn thing in there, man. When I go to the movies, I get popcorn, M&M peanuts.